Single dad cries at hospital bill. Woman in waiting room is a billionaire who pays it all. Brian was a single father doing his best. After his wife passed away 2 years ago in a car crash, he was left to raise their 6-year-old daughter, Lily, alone. He worked double shifts as a warehouse loader in a small town, barely making ends meet. But Lily's asthma had worsened overnight, and now she lay in a hospital bed, hooked up to a breathing machine, her tiny chest rising and falling. With struggle, Brian sat outside the billing office, gripping a crumpled estimate in his calloused hands. His eyes welled up with tears as he stared at the numbers. $18,437. He had insurance, but it barely covered anything. He'd already maxed out 2 credit cards from Lily's last visit. He felt hopeless, powerless. A woman sat nearby in the waiting room, dressed simply jeans, soft sweater, and no makeup, but something about her was composed, radiant. She had overheard the receptionist mention Brian's situation and saw the way he slumped in the plastic chair. Wiping his eyes, trying not to let anyone see, she stood up, walked quietly to the front desk, and asked to cover the byline. She handed over a black titanium card and signed the receipt without blinking. Brian was called back in moments later. There's been a surprise development, the receptionist said. Your daughter's bill has been paid, in full. He stared at her, stunned. What? No. That's not possible. The receptionist smiled softly. Sir, someone already took care of it. She didn't want to be named. Brian stood in a daze, tears rolling freely now, but this time from something different. Relief, gratitude, hope. He turned around, looking at the waiting room. The woman was gone. Later that week, a nurse slipped Brian a note. It simply read, I was once a scared little girl in a hospital too. Someone helped my father. Now it's my turn. Just take care of Lily. That's all the payment I need. It was signed only with a heart and the initials EL. What Brian didn't know was that the woman he saw in the waiting room was Evelyn Langford, founder of a tech empire, worth billions, who had come in quietly to visit a friend's child and left, just as quietly, having changed a life forever, and for Brian and Lily. That day was not the end, but the beginning of something beautiful. Days passed, Lily recovered quickly. Brian returned home with her, feeling lighter but still overwhelmed by what had happened. He couldn't stop thinking about the woman in the waiting room. He didn't know her name, but he couldn't forget the kindness in her eyes or how she vanished without needing recognition. He posted a heartfelt message online. To the angel who paid for my daughter's hospital bill, thank you. I don't know who you are, but your act of kindness saved us. I promise to pay it forward. He never expected it to go viral. Within hours, the post was shared thousands of times. News outlets picked it up. Single dad's hospital miracle trended across platforms. Everyone wanted to know, who was the mystery woman? Meanwhile, across town, Evelyn Langford watched the story unfold from her sleek office in the top floor of Langford Innovations. Her assistants buzzed with excitement, begging her to go public. She shook her head. No, she said, it's not about me. But something tugged at her, not fame, a feeling. She remembered her own father, a construction worker who'd once pawned his wedding ring to pay for her antibiotics. He'd died young, before he ever saw her become the billionaire she was now. Her success was built on his sacrifice. And seeing Brian cry over his daughter reminded her so much of him. It cracked something open in her heart. A week later, Brian was working a shift when a black SUV pulled into the warehouse lot. Out stepped Evelyn, dressed the same way, simple, understated. Brian blinked, stunned. You, he whispered. You're the woman. You paid the bill. She smiled. I wasn't going to come, but I read your post. I wanted to make sure you and Lily are okay. He was speechless for a long moment. Then, awkwardly, can I hug you? She nodded, and in that silent embrace so much passed between them: lost kindness, struggle, gratitude. But Evelyn wasn't done. She offered Brian a job, a better one, in her logistics department. Flexible hours, better pay, health benefits. You shouldn't have to work yourself to death to take care of your child, she said. He stammered. Why me? Because, she said, when I was your daughter's age, my dad could have used someone who believed in him. Months after Evelyn helped Brian and Lily, the world kept searching for the identity of the hospital angel. Journalists speculated, influencers guessed, but Evelyn remained silent. Then one rainy afternoon, while Evelyn sat with Lily on the floor playing with Legos, Brian asked, why don't you want people to know it was you? She paused. Because if they know, it becomes about me. I want the story to stay about hope, about what kindness can do, not who did it. But the secret wouldn't stay secret forever. One night, Lily appeared on a local talk show. She was asked about her recovery, about her dad, and, she proudly said, have a secret best friend who gave us everything. She's really smart and really kind. Her name is Evelyn. The host smiled. Is that Evelyn Langford? Lily nodded innocently. The next morning, the media exploded. Billionaire tech CEO revealed as anonymous hospital benefactor. Photographers swarmed Evelyn's offices. Her PR team panicked. Her stock value jumped. Everyone wanted an interview, but Evelyn Langford made a bold move. She scheduled one interview, just one, and she brought Brian and Lily with her. The interview that changed everything in a nationally broadcast special. Evelyn sat beside Brian and Lily. She told her story about growing up poor, about her dad, about losing him before she could repay his love. I didn't want credit. But maybe this story can remind people that giving doesn't need a reason or a headline. It just needs a heart. The response was massive. Charity donations skyrocketed. Hospitals across the country started Hope Funds and her name anonymous programs to help struggling families. People shared stories of their own quiet heroes. But most of all, Evelyn's choice sparked a movement. 1 year later, the Langford Foundation. Brian now helps lead the foundation. Evelyn started the Langford Hope Initiative, offering surprise medical bill forgiveness to single parents, veterans, and low-income families. He gives speeches across the country. Lily sometimes joins, stealing the show with her bright smile. Evelyn? She's still behind the scenes signing checks, visiting hospitals, and sharing quiet dinners with Brian and Lily like family. But something else happened too. Over time, what started as gratitude grew into something deeper between Evelyn and Brian. Not rushed, not romantic headlines. Just a bond built on mutual pain, respect, and love. Eventually, at a small backyard birthday for Lily, Evelyn whispered to Brian, "I never expected this to be the best decision of my life." He took her hand. "Neither did I."